the quietest ways, like a soft breeze that you only notice when you pause long enough to feel it. While others expressed affection through grand gestures or confident conversations, Era's heart spoke through subtle moments, gentle, almost invisible, but deeply sincere. She believed that love didn't always need an audience or a spotlight. Sometimes it lived in the unnoticed corners of everyday life. Every morning, she made sure to arrive before everyone else. And though she never admitted it, part of her early routine was simply to see him enter the classroom. She watched the way he smiled at friends, the way he tucked his hair behind his ear when concentrating, and how he treated everyone with quiet respect. These observations, though small, fueled emotions she never dared to share. Her love grew from noticing him, but she always hid her admiration behind lowered eyes and hurried steps. She didn't express her affection verbally, but her actions spoke in ways she hoped he would understand someday. Whenever he misplaced something, she found it and returned it without revealing herself. When others spoke poorly about him, she defended him softly, almost like a whisper. There were days she stayed behind after class to straighten the desks or clean the board, just so the space he walked into the next morning would feel a little more welcoming. She tried to stay invisible, not wanting attention or gratitude. Her love was about giving, not receiving. Era believed that her emotions were better left unsaid, because she feared her feelings were too small compared to the world he lived in. She watched him surrounded by friends, admired by many, and she convinced herself that her quiet heart didn't belong in that brightness. So she chose silence, not because she didn't feel deeply, but because she felt too deeply. Silence, for her, felt safer than risking rejection. Loving him from a distance became her way of protecting both him and herself. Yet, in every silent gesture she made, there was an unspoken prayer that he might notice. She didn't want attention. She wanted understanding. She didn't dream of grand love stories. She simply wanted the chance to walk beside him without feeling like she was intruding. Her love was soft, innocent, and pure, built on admiration rather than possession, and patience rather than expectation. Even though she never spoke her feelings, her heart remained full. She cherished the moments when he accidentally met her gaze, even if she quickly looked away. She treasured the times he smiled in her direction, even if the smile wasn't meant only for her. Those tiny fragments of connection were enough to sustain her silent devotion. Era's love wasn't expressed through words, but through presence. She was always there, quietly supportive, gently hopeful, and endlessly kind. She didn't need him to love her back to feel fulfilled. Loving him was already a gift she treasured. Her silence wasn't emptiness, it was a language of its own. A language he would one day learn to hear clearly. The rain had a way of softening the world, and on that particular evening, it felt as if every drop carried a quiet truth waiting to be released. The sky had grown dark earlier than usual. Clouds gathering like they were protecting a secret, meant only for two people standing beneath them. Most students rushed out quickly, seeking shelter and warmth, but Era remained by the corridor, clutching her books to her chest while the storm deepened around her. She wasn't waiting for someone. She was waiting for the courage she had never been able to summon before. He noticed her standing there alone, the soft glow of the hallway lights brushing against her face. Something about the way she hugged her books made her look even more fragile than usual, like she was holding onto the last bit of strength she had. He walked toward her without hesitation, instinctively knowing she needed company. When he offered her an umbrella, her eyes momentarily flickered with confusion, fear, and something deeper she had tried to hide for so long. She hesitated, as if taking the umbrella meant accepting more than just shelter from the rain. They stepped outside together, moving slowly under the small umbrella. The rain created a soft curtain around them, almost as if the world had grown distant, leaving only the two of them enclosed in a private, trembling moment. Era walked close, her shoulder brushing against his lightly, and though she remained silent, her breath felt uneven, like each inhale battled against the words she'd buried for months. He didn't say much either. Something in the air felt too delicate to disturb with casual conversation. Halfway to the gate, she stopped walking. The rain continued to fall, but she stood still, her fingers gripping the umbrella a little too tightly. He turned to her, confusion crossing his face, and gently asked if she was okay. That simple question, spoken with genuine concern, shattered the last barrier she had been holding up. She looked down at the wet ground, her voice trembling before it even formed words. For so long, her heart had been a quiet place, filled with love she never dared to express. But the rain, the closeness, the sound of his voice, all of it, pushed those feelings to the surface. When she finally spoke, the words were soft enough to blend with the rainfall. Her confession wasn't rehearsed or polished. It came out raw, fragile, and painfully honest. She told him she had liked him for a long time, that she never said anything because she felt she wasn't enough, that someone like him would never look at someone like her. Her voice broke in places, revealing just how heavy this secret had been to carry in silence. In that moment, the rain didn't feel cold anymore. It felt cleansing, like the world was washing away all the fear she had lived with. The moment she spoke, the air shifted between them. Her confession didn't ruin the silence, it completed it. The rain didn't drown her words, it delivered them safely. And for the first time, the truth she had hidden for so long found a place to belong. When she finally confessed her feelings, her voice carrying years of quiet longing, he didn't feel shock or confusion. Instead, he felt something warm unfold inside his chest, something he had kept hidden nearly as carefully as she had kept her silence. For so long, he had noticed her in ways she never realized. Her quiet presence, her kindness, her gentle eyes that always seemed to search for him without meaning to. Every moment she thought went unnoticed had been seen, felt, and quietly cherished. So when she spoke her truth, it wasn't a revelation to him. It was a confirmation of everything he had hoped but never admitted. He had watched her sit in the back of the classroom, her gaze drifting toward him when she thought he wasn't looking. He had seen the small acts of care she performed. The ones she assumed disappeared into the background. He knew the pen she left near his desk wasn't an accident. The way she sometimes lingered after everyone left wasn't mere coincidence. He had observed the way she softened around him, the way her presence shifted ever so slightly when he entered the room. She didn't realize it, but her silence was loud enough for the right person to hear. And he had been listening, but he never approached her first. Something about her gentleness made him feel responsible for protecting her space. He never wanted to overwhelm her or make her uncomfortable. He admired her from a respectful distance, waiting for a moment when their paths could meet naturally. He didn't know if she liked him. He only hoped she did. Yet he told himself he shouldn't expect anything. He didn't want to assume her kindness meant more than it appeared. So he remained patient, holding his feelings quietly, just as she did. That's why her confession under the rain felt like the world pausing, as though everything he had kept inside finally had permission to surface. When she said she had liked him for a long time, he felt relief wash over him, almost as powerful as the rain surrounding them. He gently lifted her chin, not to surprise her, but to show her that she no longer had to hide, that her feelings were safe, welcomed, and reciprocated. He didn't hesitate when he told her that he had been looking at her from the beginning. His words weren't crafted to impress her. They were the truth he had been waiting to share. In that moment, her doubt dissolved. She had spent so long believing she wasn't someone he could ever notice, that her love existed only in the shadows. But his confession made her realize she had been seen all along. Her silent love hadn't been one-sided. It had been mirrored in ways she never dared to imagine. Their romance didn't begin with surprise. It began with recognition. He didn't fall for her suddenly. He had been falling in quiet fragments over time, just like she had. And when their truths finally met in the rain, it felt less like a beginning and more like a continuation of something that had been growing between them, softly, patiently, beautifully, from the very first moment their eyes met.